they like to chase seasons, snowbirds, trying to stay warm and stuff like that. But, it's nice having the variability of 4 seasons. I'd be pretty bummed out if the Earth started to lack those 4 seasons, in terms of like climate stability. And so there was this really good piece of research that was done with this group, AQKR. What is it?
Yeah, AQQA.
AKQA. AKQA.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Where they took a bunch of data scientists.
AKQA 98.2.
Thank you, Albuquerque. And they came together with data scientists and symphonies and composers, and they took that data to say, well, what would Vivaldi's 4 seasons sound like in a future climate world if we look at where we're currently headed?
Without 4 seasons.
Without 4 seasons. So let's listen just for a brief moment to what Vivaldi 4 seasons sounds like by itself. This is spring. Okay, so I think all of us, I would assume just about everybody on the planet has heard that song.
Right.
Now, there's interesting parts of the climate model which are quite staggering here. That, in 2050, they think Shanghai is going to be underwater. It'll cease to exist. And the representation of that data's value when put to a compositional note is no sound at all. So all that bright, jovial, springtime growth, happiness that you hear, nothing. You'll actually hear in Vivaldi's 4 seasons periods of complete and utter silence for areas of the globe in the climate model that will never exist. And the places where you would hear, in the summer version, plants and animals are moving about. And it's like, it's very symphonic. It has good pattern to it. It becomes chaotic. It's erratic. The music is all over the place. The tones don't match with one another properly, and it's really amazing to hear that, music which connects with us at such an emotional level that when we take a climate model and put it into music, that's the emotional state, you could almost picture receiving if you were living in 2050, if we made no positive changes right now for helping our climate. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I like, and I want to get into this because I want people to understand, and this is what all art does, music, is it's a representation and it brings awareness to, an issue that we may be facing as humanity. Good artists do that, they may paint something that may be wild looking to us.
Or take a picture.
Or offensive. Mm-hmm. I've seen art that can look offensive, but then it's bringing awareness to a cause.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I saw a really cool one. This guy had a turtle that he had like sculpted, and then it had a big straw in its nose, and that's like, ugh, and it looked like, and the turtle was looking like it was in pain, but that caused, where we're using paper straws and stuff like that instead of plastic straws.
Strawberry. That's effed up.
Oh, dude. Okay, let's get back to the 1 season of Vivaldi.
Shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Strawberry.
Vivaldi's 4 seasons.
Strawberry wine. There's like a country song or something. That's all I could think of.
Okay.
I do like strawberries.
Strawberries are great.
Yeah, they're yummy. So instead of hearing strings play, which sounds like a thunderstorm once, you might hear it repeatedly, illustrating the extreme rainfall that some cities will experience.
Mm-hmm.
Much of the score, though, it meant to evoke the feeling of each season. Vivaldi's spring was intended to be joyful. And then, like you had talked about in summer, it creates this, because of wildfires, hurricanes, food insecurities, all these disasters. Then and then these disasters become common. They just become commonplace.
And so that you hear the same tones over and over and over. There's no variability, symphonic variability in like nice pattern, chord progression, whatever it might be, that you enjoy in listening to music.
Yeah, and I know they did a performance in Sydney. The team plans to work with orchestras in each city to perform other local versions. This is how we thought we could connect with local areas, he says. So they're even talking about like if they went to Shanghai and they had that real quiet moment, the Shanghai Symphony had that real quiet moment.
You mean it's a completely silent orchestra the whole time?
Yeah, a completely silent orchestra. Maybe for a period of time, like everything is going good, and everybody kind of knows this point is going to happen.
Tone starts to drop off.
Yeah, and then it's going to bring, displacement, millions of people having to be refugees. It brings this huge awareness, especially when you begin to connect with people in their own circumstances.
No, I listen.
And I want to talk about this connecting with people in their own circumstances. You have in our TARTLE statement is change your world.
Yeah.
So connecting people in their own experiences and circumstance.
You have to meet them where they are. So much like the symphony is meeting people locally in their own environment, everybody has their own inputs and experiences depending on where they are in the world.
That's what makes them so unique.
Yeah. So that's the uniqueness. And we need to cherish that uniqueness, not put people into buckets, and say, you work this way, you work this way, you work this. No, we have to meet them where they are. Everyone has their own path that they're taking. So how do we come together to help people on their path, help people on their path, help people on theirs, so that I'm going to get this bug, so that when we look at elevating the world, we're not elevating it in just like a bulk of everybody doing the same thing, because we've seen that doesn't work. You have to elevate people at their point in time where they want to be elevated. They need to be responsible for it, but you need to meet them at that point. Otherwise, no one will understand. You're coming in, it's in such a foreign aspect, frankly. No matter how westernized an area might be, and if you're coming in from the U.S. saying, things need to be this way, adoption needs to take hold, but people will do it with their own culture and flavor. And that's what we need to look at. So solving these problems, meeting people like the symphony does to talk about, their climate in that local area, that can all be done also with your data. How do you meet people and understand them in their specific locales when you're buying that data off of them and then analyzing it and then coming back to them and be like, hey, look at this. Look at what's going on for you guys here, specifically to you. That becomes something that has a much deeper connection. And a lot of that connection is made right here with data alone, whether in the stance of music or outright just showing someone maybe some sort of visual from analyzing the data.
Yeah, and I want to encourage everybody to go to tartle.co, TARTLE.co. If you are concerned about climate stability, as we are, we have that number 1 on our Big 7, then we'd encourage you to sign up. You can go to tartle.co, and you can literally donate your data, things that you're creating already. It's not costing you anything, but it's taking and changing your world, because that data that you donate, TARTLE turns around and facilitates this exchange to that not-for-profit.
Yeah. So like if you're selling your data and you're creating all these earnings from it, you're like, I really do care about sea turtles and straws in their nose. Maybe I want to put some of my earnings towards that. Mm-hmm. Right. So by sharing your data in total, you can take all those earnings, keep some for you, or share, or keep it all, or donate it all. You have all that flexibility and choice, and you can meet those not-for-profits or those people that are really out there, boots on the ground, handling this stuff, trying to get it done. You can help support them in doing so.
And one last question, Alex, and we'll be done. If somebody wants to, I already mentioned how you sign up, but let's say there's a company out there and they want to help climate stability. Yeah. And they not only do they want to help climate stability, but maybe they're looking at first-party data and then wanting to purchase that. How would they do that?
Yeah, so if you're out there and you have that focus as a research group and you want first-party data, you would sign up on TARTLE as a data buyer, and then you would say, okay, well, what's the locale I want to get it from? What specific demographic of people do I need it? And how often do I want to acquire this data, essentially? And so you choose those things, and then you say, this is the data packet I want, and you institute that bid out to the marketplace, and then you're going to receive it ethically sourced in return from all those people. First-party data. You'll know their consumption habits, behaviors, everything that is, essentially affecting the model in that locale that you're focusing on. You couldn't ask for anything better. It's much easier than going and paneling people door to door to door or asking them, it's straight there. It's like, here is a consent-based approach. I will pay you for information that we need, and then you're going to share it if you choose to do so. No harm, no foul, simple transaction, ethically sourced, and it gives people the most granular data they could ever ask for.
Yeah, it's climate stability, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Tartle.co.